Okay, so welcome back to this tactical intellectual retrieval channel, and of course this is the massacre series. We're going to talk about the Opelousas Massacre of 1868. And again, for those wondering why I am on this type of campaign, well, the descendants of the perpetrators, they're trying to chirp in present day to the descendants of victims. Now, we're being charged with, I'm talking about melanated people, we're being charged with being the usual suspects, and people online are throwing up this fallacious claim of 13 or 15% equals either 52 or 98% of all violent crime, when these are stat stupid people that are lazy and they're just denigrating just because. But we want to pull that curtain back and take a look at who's in your family tree. You guys have murderers, rapists, profligate liars, thieves, bunch of criminals in your family tree. But like I say, it rubs me the wrong way when you guys are levying that charge towards the group that I belong to. Got to clear up errors. So we're going to talk about the Opelousas Massacre, and that's in Louisiana. So I've already done Memphis, New Orleans, St. Bernard, which is in Louisiana too, and now we're on Opelousas. So let's go ahead and jump right into it. All right, so let's go ahead and pull up the Wikipedia article, the Opelousas Massacre. As you see, it says that it began on September 28th, 1868, and of course, one of the bloodiest massacres of the Reconstruction era. And then it says that, okay, in the aftermath of the ratification of Louisiana's Constitution of 1868, the 14th Amendment of the United States Constitution, of course, there were tensions between white Democrats and black Republicans in St. Landry Parish, and it escalated throughout the summer of 1868. Then, on September 28th, a white school teacher and Republican newspaper editor Emerson Bentley was attacked and beaten by 3 Democratic white supremacists while teaching a classroom of black children in Opelousas, Louisiana. So rumors of Bentley's death, while unfounded, led both black Republicans and white supremacist Democrats, including the St. Landry Parish chapter of the Knights of the White Camellia, to threaten violent retribution. Now let me stop for a minute. If you don't know about the Knights of the White Camellia, just a little background information on them. They are a white league, or basically a white supremacist terrorist organization, a paramilitary organization also, a bunch of former Confederate soldiers, cops, and people that belong to gun and rifle clubs who basically think that they are superior. And I have a video presentation that's detailing the Knights of, well, not only the Knights of the White Camellia, but other racist paramilitary organizations in the South. So back to the paragraph, and it reads, in the days following Bentley's subsequent covert flight to New Orleans, the massacre began. Heavily outnumbered black citizens were chased, captured, shot, murdered, and lynched during the following weeks. While estimates of casualties vary widely, several sources number the deaths between 150 and 300 black people and several dozen whites. Following the massacre, the Republican Party in St. Landry Parish was eliminated for several years. So to avoid being redundant when I read the background, I'm only going to read the pieces of information that wasn't in the general background portion of this Wikipedia article. Now let's check this out right here. Of course, we know that in 1868, in April, the Louisiana Constitution was ratified, and let's add that 14th Amendment to it. Now it says that there was a Bill of Rights established, and it gave melanated men the right to vote. It established an integrated public education system throughout the state, and it gave melanated people, or swarthy people, guaranteed access to public accommodations. Basically being a citizen in the truest sense. Kinda, sorta. So as a result, the local Republican candidates, they were successful in the spring elections. And okay, so July, the 14th Amendment to the U.S. Constitution was ratified, leading to increased tensions between these white supremacists and newly enfranchised melanated folks. So the summer of 1868, these white supremacists, which was the majority of the white population in Louisiana, they harassed and shot melanated people throughout the state. And okay, we see that the Knights of the White Camellia was thought to have 3,000 members, which is or was 21% of the population at that time. Now let me say something right there. 21% of that population belonged to the Knights of the White Camellia. How many belonged to the KKK? How many other groups had membership that split the difference when it comes to percentage of the population? They were all white supremacists back then. You know, maybe less than 10% of the population didn't have those sentiments. Maybe. I'm probably giving them too much credit, but that was during that time. So let's see. Okay, the Knights local chapter, the Seymour Knights, established a sizable presence at a September 13th meeting between black Republicans and white Democrats in Washington, Louisiana. So several blacks from nearby Opelousas were aiming to join the Democratic Party, and while neither party was enthusiastic about the move, the Seymour Knights intended to prevent it altogether, of course. At one point, a misfired rifle almost caused tensions to erupt into chaos, but it ended peacefully with two provisions. Future attendees at gatherings would not be permitted to carry firearms, and newspaper editor Emerson Bentley of the Republican St. Landry Progress would refrain from publishing inflammatory anti-democratic or Democrat rhetoric in the papers or paper. Now, we do have a pretty good idea of how all of this started and the sentiments of the perpetrators, the enfranchisement of formerly enslaved people, the melanated swarts, whatever you want to call them. And to me, it's kind of crazy that a people who put out there that they are so outstanding and great, they don't like to compete. This is what I am getting at right here. If you were so great, you would, of course, you don't want to compete, but through your own merit, you would naturally and organically just outdo these people. But you have to rig stuff. You have to kill people. You have to destroy their property. You have to put them through the court system and railroad them, even though they're innocent. I mean, kind of cowardly culture, if you ask me. So let's go ahead and move forward. So naturally, I want to put up a slide that tells you the aftermath of the Opelousas Massacre. Now, of course, 250 melanated individuals were killed. RIP to all of them. We have to tell their story soon once we get the information. But that led to the displacement of a majority of the melanated people in that area. And of course, that was economic sabotage, because when the people left, the majority of the melanated folks left because you don't want to be in that environment, then their businesses were destroyed. The ones who had businesses in schools, churches, etc. The white folks in that city destroyed it, vandalized it, just eliminated everything. So that was economic sabotage right there. So let's do a semi-pivot here, and this is a harvardmagazine.com article, and I want to leave that link in the description. Well, let's go ahead and read it, and it's entitled "Lynching as Human Sacrifice." This will give us some insight on the mentality of these people from back then on up to today. I mean, it's something very ritualistic about these people that, sick in the head, deranged. Well, let's go ahead and read, and it says, in 1899, a newspaper described the lynching in Georgia of a black farm laborer charged with killing his white employer in the presence of nearly 2,000 people who sent aloft yells of defiance and shouts of joy. Sam Holt was burned at the stake in a public road. Before the torch was applied to the pyre, the Negro was deprived of his ears, fingers, and other portions of his body with surprising fortitude. Before the body was cool, it was cut to pieces, the bones were crushed into small bits, and even the tree upon which the wretch or man met his fate were torn up and disposed of as souvenirs. The Negro's heart was cut in small pieces, as was also his liver. Those unable to obtain the ghastly relics directly paid more fortunate possessors extravagant sums for them. Small pieces of bone went for 25 cents, and a bit of liver crisply cooked for 10 cents. Such lynchings were a form of religious ritual, according to Orlando Patterson, Cowell's professor of sociology. In the wake of their devastating defeat in the Civil War, Southerners had to explain why they had lost. The South, as the most Christian part of the nation, felt that it must have committed some great sin for that bunch of feckless, effete Northerners to defeat them, says Patterson, who argues that lynchings were often a way to cast out that sin. Blacks themselves could not be literally cast out because their labor was needed, so some Southerners found the next best thing: you symbolically cast them out by ritually sacrificing them, Patterson explains. Religious ritual sacrifices have several characteristics, including torture, mass attendance, and burning. In a forthcoming book, Rituals of Blood, God, Sex, and Violence in Black and White America, Patterson asserts that 35 to 40% of the lynchings qualified as bona fide human sacrifices, serving the same functions that such sacrifices do in any society that practices them. Scholars have overlooked the religious significance of lynchings, Patterson says. Fire consecrated the act. The sacrifices did not take place in previously consecrated places, such as churches, but clergymen frequently incited the mob or joined in, and the sacrifice often occurred on a Sunday. Newspaper reports often noted that a collective hush generally came over the crowd at the moment of the victim's death. The awesome transition from life to death silenced even a murderous lynch mob. All right. This is crazy here, man. Insane, bro. But I'm glad they actually admitted to the mob being a murderous lynch mob. Now, I'm going to read one more sentence and I'm done with this garbage. It says, symbolic cannibalism was also typical in such lynchings. Patterson says it often involves just smelling and going around with a piece of that person. Insane. If that's cannibalism, then what these people were doing was cannibalism, because they did go around with pieces of fried, melanated people hearts and livers. Participants in the ritual would take body parts as ritual mementos and often adjourned to a common meal afterwards. All right, man, that's enough of this, man. These people are insane, man. But we walking around here. Hey, man. All right, man, that's done with that article there. And I'll leave the link to this article in my description for this video here. But I just had to throw that out there, just to give you, just to peer into the mind of these people, man. They pass this type of thing down. And like I say, the descendants of these murderous, insane people, degenerates, they still have body parts in their attic or basement. They still have souvenirs and mementos of people that were murdered in cold blood. But like I say, man, online, we got to hear about, hey, man, 15% equals 52 or 90% of the crime, usual suspects and all that. Like I said, if your grandfather attended or partook in this thing, which by proxy, you know, if you attend, you participated in this whole thing. You know, why are you even talking to me about this stuff, man? Huh? Well, anyway, that's it for this portion here. So I'm gonna move on to the next part, and that's continuing tradition. I don't understand these people here, man. Like, you supposedly religious, but the degenerate idea or thought that is running through your brain or your mind is, hey, we were defeated in the Civil War, so we have to do something to atone for our sins, and we have to symbolically cast something out. So what are we gonna do? Well, we're gonna cast out sin by murdering people that had nothing to do with anything that we had going on. So it says, like I say, that article says that blacks or melanated people themselves could not be literally cast out because their labor was needed. So Southerners, in their mind, found the next best thing. They symbolically cast them out by, they say ritually sacrificing, but that's straight murder right there. Yo, it's unbelievable. I don't understand these folks. And, you know, to be honest with you, they try to purport the idea that us melanated people are problematic, but listen, man, they descend from murderers, man, and people that supported murder. So melanated people in this country should be terrified of them, but I digress, man. So let's move on into a dope topic. This segment here, it says the lack of impulse control leads to the continuing tradition of violent crime, a look into the present day criminal exploits of the more numerous demographic group in the US. So what are we going to talk about first? Well, their names are Bryan Kohberger, and then we're going to talk about some dude who offed his mom and sister, and then hey, we know white folks love their dogs, so we're going to talk about a Hartford couple who love their dogs a little too hard. So let's go ahead and talk about this dude, Bryan Kohberger, first. Now, I have the ABC News screenshot up right here of the story, and it says Bryan Kohberger agrees to plead guilty to all counts in Idaho college murders case. Letter from prosecutors. And as you see right here, the story is by Kana Whitworth and Emily Shapiro. And let's go ahead and move on to the next part and get into the heavy parts of this story here. So in a mix of paraphrasing and skimming, look at what it says. Bryan Kohberger, he basically agreed to plead guilty to all counts in the killing of 4 University of Idaho students. And what that did is spare him from the death penalty. And he sent a letter to the victims' family members informing them of the plea deal. So if you didn't know, Kohberger, he was charged with 4 counts of first-degree murder and 1 count of burglary in connection with the 2022 killings of roommates Kaylee Goncalves, Madison Morgan, and Zana Kernodle, and Kernodle's boyfriend by the name of Ethan Chapin. And so his sentence was originally 4 consecutive life sentences on the murder counts and a maximum penalty of 10 years on the burglary count, according to the plea agreement. So they say, well, the bottom sentence, that's unimportant right here. The main thing is the crime or crimes that he committed. He kind of hit a double or hat trick right there. You know how they say his community likes to say that we're the usual suspects and we're just out here committing an uncanny supernatural amount of crime. You know, his community, they're just talking trash, man. It's really and truly an act of war to denigrate us to that stupid illogical level, such as our population percentage of our community, the melanated community, FBA, whatever you want to call it, that we supposedly commit all these crimes. We're still going to jail, but we still have a surplus of extra people to commit crimes coming from our community. Is mathematically impossible, man. You know, somebody's doing something wrong. I mean, either white society, they're putting us in jail, then taking us right out, and we're just continuing this cycle. You know, 24/7, we're just committing crimes, the same people.
everybody's committing crimes from they don't think, man. But here you have it. You have this guy right here killing 4 people and committing burglary. That's the least of their worries right there. But let's go ahead and check out this image here. As you can see, the script below says a photo posted by Kaylee Goncalves a few days before their deaths show University of Idaho students Ethan Chapin, Zana Carnodal, Madison Mogen, and Kaylee Goncalves. So the guy, the perpetrator, he burgled from these people or robbed one of these people, and he just murdered all of them, killed them all. So really, he should be considered a white brute, and he's definitely a part of the usual suspects. And the usual suspects don't come from a minority group as they try to purport. That claim by them is just an act of war to continue or attempt to continue a genocide that their forefathers couldn't even complete. So, it's a generational thing there. So who else do we have to further drive this point home? All right, so this is a wild story here. So let's check it out. Here's a people.com article, and the title is "Man accused of murdering his mother and sister whose children were home as victims were shot dead." And the guy's name is Jared Mitchell. I think he is 34 now, but he's facing 3 counts of first-degree murder following the triple homicide that occurred in the early morning hours of June 22nd. Get a good look at this. You hear them tell it, he's a superior being, top of the food chain. All right, and this story is done by Chris Spargo. To be completely honest, we really don't need to go any further here. We have what we need, but let's elaborate and get all the facts of the story, right? Rather than jump into conclusions. All right, so he's an Arkansas man, and he's accused of murdering his mother, stepfather, and sister in a triple homicide that occurred in the early morning hours of June 22nd. And of course, his name is Jared or Gerard or whatever Mitchell. Who cares about his age, man? He's facing 3 counts of first-degree murder in connection with the deaths of the victims. Okay, so if it's facts that you want, let's go ahead and get the facts. It says their bodies were found by the sister's husband when he returned home from work on Sunday morning. All right, and that's according to the Bryant Police Department. So, if you're taking umbrage to this, take it up with the Bryant Police Department. So the police said that there were 3 children home at the time of the murders, but they were uninjured in the attack. All the victims died of gunshot wounds, according to the Bryant Police Department, who arrived at the scene approximately 7:30 a.m. and began to conduct their initial investigation into the incident. So the cops noted that in the release that there were no signs of forced entry or signs of this being a home invasion. So 8 hours later, the police, they arrested Mitchell and booked him into the Saline County Detention Center, where he still resides, according to jail records. So what else do we have? So, and one thing that they like to do against our people is try to pull up any priors, and if they don't have any priors, then let's denigrate the character still. So right here, we see that he does have priors, and it says court records show that Mitchell has been arrested and convicted multiple times for non-violent drug charges. So he was also committed against his will back in 2017 while living with his grandparents. So people obtained a copy of the petition filed by Mitchell's grandparents, who expressed concern about their grandson's alleged substance abuse and their fears stemming from his alleged threats to his family. Come on. Alright, so back in 2017, he threatened his mother, her husband, and his sister. The petition said he had knives laid out on the bed and one on his person, that's on him. The petition goes on to allege that Mitchell punched holes in the wall and was eventually taken into custody for alleged terroristic threatening. All right. So it says, in response to that filing, a judge ordered that Mitchell be committed to a detox facility for no more than 21 days. In his order, the judge said that there was clear and convincing evidence that Mitchell is or may be addicted to alcohol and other drugs, and that Mitchell is homicidal, suicidal, and gravely disabled. He's a nutcase, man. Nearly 8 years to the date of that filing, on June 19th, 2025, Mitchell allegedly killed his family members. Okay, so that's continuing tradition right there. That's a second example. So let's go ahead and look into the third example. So depending on your culture, this will probably be disgusting, or you may consider it a love story and, a lighter note. But anyway, let's go ahead and read the title of the article. And it says, Hartford couple arrested for sexual crimes against animals. Now, if you're part of my group, which are the melanated, either 13 or 15% group right there, this is definitely a crime and a disgusting, sick one. But if you're part of the dominant culture, dominant group in this country, or you're trying to be adjacent to them, you probably will take offense to crimes against animals, because you just want to love them a little bit. I mean, you already tongue kiss them and let them sleep in your bed, But I digress, man. The date is February 2nd, 2024. And let me zoom in so I can read. So, folks, let's take a look at these superior beings, these upstanding citizens of the country, these innocent people. That's if you asking Nick Fuentes or Charlie Kirk or people of their ilk who just lie and absolve themselves of any wrongdoing. But let's look at the article, and it says, a Hartford couple has been accused of committing sex acts with animals. The Hartford Police Department arrested 42-year-old Matthew Dockery and his wife, 43-year-old Kimberly Dockery, and charged each with sexual crimes against animals and tampering with physical evidence. Hartford police told news outlets that the investigation began on January 29th after law enforcement received a tip accompanied by video footage as well as photographs. A search warrant was served on Thursday afternoon at the Dockery's residence, where 2 dogs were removed from the property and multiple electronic devices were seized. The suspects were lodged in the Ohio County Detention Center on $5,000 cash bonds. The investigation is ongoing. Yeah, man. Hey, man, should start a GoFundMe for these dogs here. Man's best friend. All right, okay. Man and women's best friend. Come on, man. What they doing with them dogs, man? Filth, man. Well, there you go, man. Continuing tradition, man. Raping animals. Hey, man. Killers, man. Stealing from them. I mean, junk is crazy, man. Dude killing his family. Raping animals. Killing classmates. Continuing tradition. Those are the usual suspects right there. And for those who want to get offended, man, this is wartime, man. Hey, our people died for this stuff based off of lives, man. People died, got displaced, economic, castration. And we still here, man. But what's their excuse? Everything they do is projection. So, we're going to be at their neck, man. They got to stop committing crimes, but we know that's not going to happen. So, we're going to make light of this stuff, man. Because, hey, past, present, they made light of they made and they are making light of our stuff, our issues, man. What happened in our community. So yeah, we're gonna be at them, man. So this is wartime. Again, it's wartime. So nobody take offense to that. If you take offense to that, then I don't know what to tell you, but I know I can't help you. Hey, I will just ignore it. That's all I can do. All right, we'll take a page out of the dominant society and ignore your concerns, questions, comments. So with that said, we're done with this part right here. And another thing, let's speak to the melanated diaspora, because Africa, they got their own thing going. They're a popular part of the melanated diaspora, but they're not the entire melanated diaspora. Now, this whole FBA and Pan-Africanist, because that's really what it is, FBA and Pan-African and Africans type of thing. Caribbeans, I'm gonna have to address all of this stuff somewhere else, but this is speaking on the whole context of this FBA and the melanated diaspora and Pan-Africans. Okay, now Pan-Africans and then Africans, FBA is a real thing. It's lineage based. It's a heritage. People who are FBA, they have deep roots in this country over here, even before the country. Now, I know Africans and either fresh off the boat Africans, first generation, second generation, third generation Africans. If you are a resident, if you came up and had your ethnogenesis in the post-Berlin Conference Africa, then stop trying to latch on to these people. And when I apply under the criteria, I am a FBA because my people go back and are rooted into this thing. I'm 39, so all this is kind of recent within the last couple of years. But FBA is the consciousness of it. They're protecting their legacy, heritage, bloodline, all of that stuff, because it's bigger than Pan-Africanism. Because really right now, Pan-Africanism is a threat and is harming the people who classify and make up FBA, Foundational Black Americans. Now, if you're Caribbean, if you're non-FBA, you're trying to get on the train to receive reparations that are not even pertaining to your people, because your people didn't even experience these massacres right here. Your people didn't experience slavery within the United States of America. They didn't experience Reconstruction. They didn't experience the massacres that happened in Reconstruction, Jim Crow, and the interwar period. So during this time of these massacres here, if your people were in the Caribbean, that's something else you got to take up. If your people were in Central and South America, you got to take that up with previous colonial powers or overlords. And then Africa, man, Africa. You can't expect to receive reparations from the United States and your people weren't even over here. That doesn't make any sense, man. This is a class, all this whole reparations thing is akin to a class action lawsuit. Who, what, when, where. That's what you gotta look at right there. So you can't just latch on to it and start calling yourself black and African American. Because the U.S. government knows who's who, really. But you guys, this whole Pan-African, all you guys doing is weakening a claim that FBA has. So y'all gotta stop doing that stupid junk, man. And Caribbeans gotta stop that too. Caribbeans and Africans, you guys have your past colonial overlords to bring a case to. You don't have the United States. That's what FBA has. FBA has the United States, okay? So just make it make sense and stop trying to undermine stuff, sincerely. All right. So this whole massacre series, like I say, man, if your name is Olafe Wafolafe Ume or something like that, and then you have a kid named Jack Wafula Ume, you don't apply, man. Your people didn't even experience this or were never susceptible to this because they weren't over here. Simple as that. But you guys enjoy this, and we're gonna come out with this was Opelousas. All right, so we got Camilla and the Utah Massacre coming next. All right, take care.